Hey everyone, Chris Archer here. I want to take some time today and talk to you about alimony, give you kind of a general overview, teach you a couple things you might not know about alimony in South Carolina. It's an important issue. It comes up in just about every case for divorce. In South Carolina, there is no minimum length of marriage before the court can award alimony. So in theory, the court could award alimony on a 6-month marriage. May not be likely to do so, but there's no bright line test in South Carolina or length of marriage before the court can award it. So it's an important issue to understand. Now, generally speaking, alimony is going to be a substitute for the financial support that the spouse enjoyed incident to the marital relationship. What that means is that we're trying to place the supported spouse as much as we can in the position that they enjoyed during the marriage financially. So if one spouse, earns substantially more than the other spouse, and this is a marriage of significant length and some other factors the court will consider, then we're going to try to maintain that spouse's standard of living that they enjoyed during the marriage. An important thing to note is that alimony is not gender specific, meaning that either a husband or a wife can make a successful claim for alimony or spousal support. This is not specific to wives, although historically that may be the case. In today's times, it is not uncommon at all for wives to out-earn husbands. And for husbands to make claims for spousal support incident to a divorce. So one thing I want to talk about today is the form of alimony payment. Not necessarily the amount, but the form that the payment is made in. And so there's several different forms that a court can award, from lump sum alimony to rehabilitative alimony to permanent periodic alimony. But our courts have told us that the preferred method or form is permanent periodic alimony. And what that means is that the paying spouse will pay a set sum of money every month to the receiving spouse. And there's only a few ways to terminate that obligation. The first would be death of either spouse. So if either the paying spouse or the receiving spouse dies, then the alimony obligation would terminate upon that death. Or remarriage. So if the spouse receiving alimony remarries, then that's also going to terminate the support obligation. Kind of coinciding with remarriage, if a spouse is kind of wise to the fact that they're going to lose out on this alimony payment if they remarry, they may decide, well, I don't want to remarry, I'll just live with my significant other. Well, our courts have said that if a party does that, cohabitates with another individual in a marriage-like relationship for a period of 90 days or longer, then that's going to be justification to terminate the alimony as well. But important to understand that permanent periodic alimony is the preferred method in South Carolina, and that can be a substantial burden on a paying spouse. Even a small sum of money, $200 or $300 a month, could be a substantial sum of money when you total that up over an individual's lifetime. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about spousal support or alimony awards or claims as you go through marital litigation. Next thing I want to talk to you about that you may not know is that alimony awards are modifiable. So let's say that the judge awards a spouse $500 per month in permanent periodic alimony. However, a year after that decision is issued, there's a substantial and material change in circumstances. For example, one spouse hits the lottery, or one spouse becomes very ill and has substantial medical bills. Those could be conditions that a court would consider to modify the alimony. So this is something, while property division, for example, cannot be modified by the court after its initial decree, alimony is always going to remain modifiable based on a substantial change in circumstances. So keep that in mind if you're currently in a situation where you've been paying alimony, even if the order is very old. If circumstances have changed since the time that order was entered, then you may have grounds to modify that alimony. Next thing to know about spousal support is that marital fault is going to be a consideration the court will make when determining whether or not to award or how much to award. But specifically, adultery is going to be a total bar to a spouse receiving alimony. So regardless of how good the case for alimony may be, diminished earning capacity, stay-at-home mother or father who has given up their career in order to support the career of their spouse and care for young children, regardless of how strong the case is, if the paying spouse or the would-be paying spouse can prove adultery, then that is going to act as a total bar to alimony in South Carolina. So wanted to just kind of give you a general overview, touch on those issues, and give you a couple of things you may not have known about alimony before this video. If you have any questions about alimony, or if there's anything else I can help you with, please feel free to give me a call at the office. I'm happy to talk to you at any time. Hope you have a great day, and talk to you soon.